Hey everyone, Jem here. I wanted to go over how to use JavaScript and some extra settings to redirect to a page after you click an action link. So I'm going to start with a new app, and I'm going to use this sample page here and use this schedule meeting app. So let's see, we want the action link to, for example, we'll just have it set the date field to the current date. And what we want to do is first I'm going to create a details page, and I'm using a separate table. I'm not creating it on here because I don't want the just in case you don't want the details link on the actual page, you want them to click the action link to go to the details page. So if I create a details link like this and then delete it from the table, it will also delete the page. But if I create a new table and then delete the table, the details page will stay. So if we look here, we just created this details page, and the first thing I'm going to do is go into the settings and grab the slug because we need that for the URL. What I'm going to do as well is just check to see what the URL is here. So we have this tutorials.database.io, that's default, pay the app name, and then we have the details page, and then we need the record ID. So I'm copying everything after the first slash, as you can see here, and I'm going to update the code here, and I'll copy and paste the code to the community post, so you can copy and paste that as well. And I'm going to go into the JavaScript and paste this here, and the URL will be right here. We also need a slash at the end. So we're removing the record ID because we're using JavaScript to find the record ID. And to make this work, we need to actually add a text field here, and then use a table rule to set that text field to the record value of record ID. That way, anytime someone creates a new record, and you could use a task if you have lots of records here to update them all. And we need to add this to the table because we need to grab this value. So I'm going to add, we called it text. You could call this record ID. And add this to the table so we can grab that value. And we're going to also add a CSS class so the JavaScript can find it. So this is going to be, we're going to have the class record ID. Now the next thing we have to look for is the position of the action link itself. So if I refresh this here, we'll see that if you count from right to left and count from 1, so this is 1, 2. The action link here is in is the second column from the right. So you'll change this number right here, action link column position, to the number of your action link. So your action link may be the first column, so you count from here, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and that you change this number to 7. Now, one more thing that we need to do is to check the component. So we're using the JavaScript API here to wait for the component to render, and we're passing in this component 20, which is my table. Just make sure you change that to whatever your table component is. Um, and after saving this JavaScript, updating the uh, redirect link and the column position, you'll see that we'll take a look on the front end, and we'll see that the action link is supposed to update this to January 12th because that's today's date. We'll click the action link. It updated it, and then navigate it to the details page. And the same goes for any other record. It'll run the action link and then redirect to the details page. Now, just in case you don't want the record ID visible here, there is one thing we can do. It's a little bit of a hack, but we can go into filters and grouping, add a filter tab. We're going to set this condition to something that's always true. In my case, the customer is never blank, or the record ID is never not blank. So if it's not blank, we want to hide. Uh, we want to. We're going to hide this column, record ID. We're going to set it as the default, and we're going to add a bit of CSS to make it look a little nicer. Because right now on the front end, this is always selected, and it is hiding the thing. It is hiding the record ID, but you might not want to see this here. So I'm going to add the following CSS to the page as well to hide that, and set the border for the top to make it look normal. And there you go. Now we have the action link running, and it redirects to the details page, and it looks as if it's a regular table.